This video is about the first meeting in mentoring. One of the first things to do when you first meet somebody is to work on agreeing the ground rules, but another is to think about building the relationship and establishing some kind of rapport. This video is about that. So key things to gain agreement about are things like what the expectations are, yours as mentor and the mentee's expectations. What do they see as the outcomes, the learning outcomes from these sessions that you're about to have? It's also important to be clear about the responsibility of things. So who's responsible for what within the relationship? What are the terms and conditions of the relationship? So discuss that. Also, there's important issues around respect and valuing each other's perspectives. A kind of openness is important. The issue of confidentiality needs to be discussed, and the boundaries of the relationship need to be considered as well. So another element that's crucial to developing this learning relationship of mentoring right from the outset is about building rapport. And this is directly linked to the ground rules you've established. There are 5 main elements in establishing and maintaining the rapport. One is getting to know each other. Another is establishing trust. It's focusing on common ground as well as differences. And remember, differences are very important because this is the way in which mentoring can often work. It adds a kind of dynamic into the relationship. And about building mutual empathy. So in terms of getting to know each other, first thing you do is share something about yourself as mentor. Say something about who you are, where you come from, what you do, what you've done, what you've achieved, but also invite your mentee to do the same. Usually a good idea if the mentor goes first, because then that gives you an opportunity to disclose things about yourself. And the fact that you've disclosed something about yourself invites your mentee to disclose something about themselves. Establishing trust can take some time, but also trust can also be pretty instant based on the way in which you've shared things about yourself. The other is through establishing the ground rules, which you kind of manage and keep to as the process evolves. Focusing on common ground and thinking about some of your differences is also important. So have a discussion about your likes and your dislikes, your values and your beliefs, not about yours particularly, but inviting your mentee to talk about theirs as well. Agree the ground rules, and I'll look at that in the next slide. Agree the ground rules, and I'll look at that in the next slide. Empathy is really, really important. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is where you feel sorry for somebody and it's not very helpful, but empathy is where you can kind of understand how they feel because you're a human being as well. And empathy is developed through the discussions, through the ground rules, through your demonstrating that you care and that you understand and appreciate the other person. Ground rules are really important, and there is some more information on ground rules and a whole process to go through. But ground rules help you to get started. They help to get the thing moving, to get people talking. They set the tone for future discussions and make it kind of business-like. They help you to review the relationship, which is really important. They help you to give and receive feedback about the nature of the relationship as it progresses. And it's about the expectations being established. And of course, they may change over time. It's about establishing the responsibilities, who does what, under what circumstances. It talks about practical things, about where you might meet and how often you might meet and various things like that. And concerns things like making notes. What are they for? Who are they for? Where do they go to? And who does what, under what circumstances, and who makes contact with whom after meetings. These things are very important because otherwise they buzz around unresolved and the mentee is not quite sure what they are supposed to do. So I urge you to establish ground rules and look at the section on ground rules because that will give you more information. Thank you for listening and watching.